Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you all with a new video from my bed, actually. My very comfy bed, because I feel like I'm probably gonna talk for a long time in this video. I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be about like 15 to 18 minutes long, and I just want it to be comfy, you know? Also, I'm in my Belmont t-shirt here because, if you couldn't already tell by the title, today I'm going to be doing a video all about my sophomore year of college, which I go to college at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. And before I get started with the sophomore details, I wanted to let you guys know that I actually filmed this same exact video about my freshman year last summer. And so if you haven't seen that already, and you're like interested in college in general, or you're interested in Belmont particularly, I would recommend watching my freshman year video first. I will link it on the screen right here and also put a link to it down below because I talk all about my freshman year, obviously. But this year we're just going to go into a little bit more detail about my sophomore year. So I have three main categories that I'm wanting to talk about today, and those are academics, involvement, and the sophomore slump. So let's go ahead and get started with academics, because you go to college to learn. That's kind of the main reason why you're there. So that would be the most important thing to start with. So for those of y'all that don't know, I'm an entrepreneurship and marketing double major. So I'm in the business school at my university, and let's see, I guess I'll talk about the classes that I got to take this past year. So it's really cool because as you get older in college, you obviously get to start taking more major-based specific classes rather than like general ed requirements or like the boring things that you have to get out of the way freshman year. And so this year, my sophomore year, I really got to do more business classes, which was super interesting, and I enjoyed so many of them. So my first semester, which honestly seems like forever ago, it seems like so long ago now, but fall semester of my sophomore year, that would have been fall 2016, I guess, I took international business, business law, and finance, and then I took 2 honors classes because I guess I haven't talked about this yet in this video, but I mentioned it in last year's video. I'm also a member of the honors program at Belmont, and so that means that instead of like gen ed classes, I have to take honors classes that are required. And so each semester so far I've taken 2 honors classes and then typically like 3 other business classes. So I've taken like 15 hours the past 2 semesters, which I think 15 is like the average for most students to take. So the 2 honors classes I took last fall semester were Age of Exploration, which is like a history class. I'm pretty sure that's the one I took. Honestly, it was so long ago I kind of forgot. And then I also took a science class, which was on like psychology and consciousness. That was really interesting. Made to be in that class, so not too happy about that, but it was a fun class. So those were the classes I took, and I guess I'll talk about my business classes some. So finance was easily is not the right word to use there. By far the hardest class I have taken so far in college, and I'm hoping it will be like the hardest class I have to take. Most people at my school talk about how hard accounting is because at Belmont they combine accounting 1 and accounting 2 into a 6-hour class, which is really long compared to a typical 3-hour course. I didn't really struggle with accounting though. I took that freshman year, but finance I thought was really, really difficult. We learned about stocks and bonds and dividends and all that sort of crazy stuff that's like just hard for me to understand because it's so abstract. Like it's hard to think about it like in the physical real world because you think of the stock market as being just this imaginary thing up somewhere in the air, but it's a real thing, and I had to learn all about that. But it was helpful because I did learn a few things about stocks and bonds and stuff, and since then I've actually started a retirement fund and invested in some mutual funds thanks to my dad for showing me all of that. But my finance teacher, he inspired me to start my retirement fund because I now know how important that is to save for retirement. International business was pretty interesting. My class was like really easy, so I didn't get like a ton out of it, which is something that I've learned. It's not always the best thing to take the easiest teachers because you can just look online at Rate My Professor, because I do love, like I've loved every single, well minus like 1. I've loved almost every single professor that I've had so far in school, but sometimes taking the easiest professor is not what's going to be best for you. I find that when I am pushed, I actually learn more, so that's something that I'm definitely going to take into consideration for the future, because I'd rather really learn about the subject and enjoy it than just like fly by and not actually understand what is going on, you know? So that was international business, and then the last one was business law. That class was actually really cool. That was my favorite class from that semester. I just learned all about, well, law in the business world, and it was really helpful. Lots of like interesting real life things that we learned in that class, and some of it I think is going to be super helpful to me coming up like in my career and everything, just because you learn all about LLCs and legal forms of businesses and all that sort of cool like legally stuff. So I really liked that class. So my honors classes were kind of tough that fall semester, but I've now just realized and come to terms with the fact that I'm going to make B's in college, and that is okay, and I'm going to make A minuses, and that is okay. Something that really bothers me about Belmont's grading system is that an A minus, which is a 90 to a 93, will lower your GPA, but there's no such thing as an A plus. So if you get like a 97 to a 100, it's not gonna raise your GPA. I just think that's super annoying. But coming from someone who like never made a B in high school, it's definitely an adjustment getting to college. When you start making B's in your classes, you kind of have to take a step back and be like, whoa, this is okay. Like, I'm involved in other things. Grades aren't everything, and that's something I definitely realized this semester, and I'm just not gonna be as concerned about grades as I used to be. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna study hard, but like if I make a B, I'm not gonna freak out about it like I would have in high school. Oh wait, did I even talk about my classes from my second semester? I didn't. Wow, dumb me. Okay, I'm gonna insert this now so it's gonna look like I talked about them even though I forgot. So second semester, I was also again in 3 business classes and 2 honors classes. So my honors classes, one was a history class, and then one was a class on leadership. And in the honors program at Belmont, every student goes to a different track. So one of them is like a science track, one is an art track, and then mine was a leadership track because I'm not artistic and I didn't want to write a thesis. So I thankfully got to take my last history class ever. It was an interesting class, but I'm just really not a big fan of history, so that was my last like honors humanities class I have to take. Thank the Lord. But then I was also in that leadership class, which was interesting. I'll just leave it there. As for my business classes, I was in Foundations of Entrepreneurship, Management Information Systems, and Business Ethics. I'll start with business ethics, I guess. That was a really easy class, like not much homework or mini tests or anything like that, but it was actually super interesting. My professor, he would just go on and tell us the coolest stories about his own life experiences in the business world, and so that was really interesting. I always enjoyed going to that class. Management Information Systems, if you don't know what that is, basically it's like working with information systems. So it's all like computer based, and the first half of the semester was more like, how would you put it? The first half of the semester was more like ideas and concepts about how to efficiently run a business or an organization. Then the second half of the semester was all based on Excel, which is like Microsoft Excel. So we learned how to do so many different things in Excel, and that was kind of tough, but I made it through. And then lastly, my favorite class that I've ever taken at Belmont, by far, Foundations of Entrepreneurship, which that's my major, so it's a good thing that I enjoyed it so much. But I just really loved that class so much. My professor, she was amazing. It has definitely inspired me to start my own business, which I will keep y'all up to date with as time goes on, I promise. And I just loved that class so much, and it definitely reassured me that I picked the right major. Alright, so I just talked for like 7 minutes about academics. I'm so sorry, this video is gonna be so long, oh my gosh. But next thing I have to talk about is involvement, and I should have like written things down because, wow, I'm gonna forget. I guess I'll start with my sorority because that's kind of what takes up the majority of my time and what I love the most that I'm involved in at school. So last spring semester and into this past fall semester, I was our like organizational manager. So I was in charge of our storage unit, which is this like dark, messy, dirty, scary place that basically just holds all of our stuff inside of it. And so I was in charge of like keeping that organized, and yeah, basically that's it. Letting people in who needed to get in and stuff like that. And then towards the end of fall semester, we had elections coming up for our executive council, and I applied for a position. I actually applied for one position, and then I was slated for another position, which basically there's this committee of people who put together a slate of who they think would be best in each position. So I was slated for one position, and then I went into elections and two other people actually ran against me, and I did not end up getting that position. And that was something that honestly upset me so much more than I expected it would. Yeah, I'll talk about that a little later. But basically I ran for a position, didn't get one, but it all worked out for the better because I applied for an appointed position, which is basically a position just not as big of like a role, I guess. And I'm now my sorority's apparel chair, which I've really been liking. So that means that I design all of our t-shirts and merchandise and stuff like that. And so I got to do that in the spring semester. So that's when it started. It started like January of this year, and I've really been liking that. I was actually thinking that I might do a video all about like designing sorority t-shirts and how it works and how you can do it and helpful hints and stuff like that. So if you guys would be interested in that, let me know. That's like such a random topic, I know, but if anyone is interested, let me know because I can do it if you want me to, just because I've enjoyed that so much. And I don't know, I could like show y'all some of the shirts I've made and stuff just because I've had so much fun doing that. I'm also a member of two like business teams at Belmont. So those are Enactus and DECA. And Enactus is a program, I've talked about it before on my channel. Basically it works with like social enterprises. They don't have to be nonprofits, but sometimes they are. And it's so hard to describe. If you're interested in it, you can like look on their website, but basically you just like work with these different sorts of businesses and organizations and try to help them in some way. So whether that be like starting their business or doing some kind of marketing project for them or anything like that, like in the business world. So I was working with one group and we were working with a nonprofit based out of Uganda, I believe, and we were working all through fall semester to try and not convince the owner of the nonprofit, but to present to her what it would look like if she actually turned into a for-profit rather than a nonprofit. So she would turn from a nonprofit to a for-profit with like a social backing. So we did all that research. I was like on a team with like 10 other people, and that was really fun. I learned like a lot of valuable information about LLCs and L3Cs and nonprofits and B Corps and all that sort of stuff. And so we did that fall semester, and then that project, it's an international project, which sometimes those are hard to like stay put together. And so that actually like fell through sort of. So she didn't end up turning into the for-profit business. So we kind of like cut it off at winter break. And then this spring semester in Enactus, I wasn't really doing anything, but now over the summer I'm kind of doing some research, and we might start up, or we probably will start up, another international project in the fall. So hopefully when I do this video next summer, if and when I do it, I'll have another project to tell y'all about. But so that's Enactus. And then DECA, I wasn't super involved in it, but let's see, the end of like fall semester, they do this thing called an Entrepreneurship Challenge, which is where you get together in groups of 3 people and they give you a prompt. And the prompt for us was something like, pets are super trendy and owners love to treat their pets like kids, stuff like that. Take advantage of this market opportunity. And so we had to come up with a business plan for all of that, and we put together this like pet spa, like pretend, it wasn't real, we didn't actually do it, but we came up with like all the details and stuff like that as if we were going to actually put it together. Speaking of pets, there's my dog barking out there. So that was really interesting. We got to present it to these judges and hear other groups present and stuff like that, and it was good practice for the actual DECA competition, which is held in, it was held in Anaheim this past like spring. I wasn't able to go to that, unfortunately. I really wanted to, but it was just like a week off of school, and that would have been way too long for me to miss class. But it would have been really good practice for that event, and I'm hoping I can go to that next year because it just seems so cool. And they have this like retail merchandising category that you can compete in, and I think I'd really be interested in that, so I'm really hoping I can do that next year. I also ran to be a member of Congress again this past year, and so I was a member of my Student Government Association, or SGA. And I was on our campus outreach and events committee again, like I was the past semester. And basically I would help with our social media and planning events and coordinating events, stuff like that, volunteering at the events we would put on and doing that kind of stuff. And that was, we would have Congress meetings for that like every other week, and I always really enjoyed those because we got to dress up in like our cute little business attire, and we had this little binder, and I just felt so official, and that was really cool. Also, I wrote my first piece of like legislation, I guess, or I didn't write it, but I was a part of writing it, which was cool. So actually helped install a Brita filter in my dorm's lobby, which was really cool because there wasn't a water fountain in the lobby before that. And so we just wrote this little piece of legislation basically saying like it would benefit the students if they had a Brita filter or a water fountain in the lobby, and they put one in, which was super cool. So, well, I don't live in that dorm anymore, but if I ever see that water fountain again, I'll be like, yes, I helped get that there. So that was a super rewarding experience, but I'm unfortunately not going to be continuing with SGA this next year just because it took up a lot of my time, and I just want to get more involved in other things. And I think that that's pretty much all I was involved with. Who knows, I might be forgetting something, I don't know. So next I want to talk about the sophomore slump because it is real. I know you probably hear about it and you're like, oh my gosh, no, like that doesn't actually happen, but I'll tell you, it happened for me. It happened for my roommate this past year. I don't know, it probably happens to a lot of people, but I'll just tell y'all about my experience. So my sophomore slump occurred in the fall semester, and I think it was just due to like so many different reasons. First of all, I didn't have the greatest living situation my first semester in the fall, and so my roommate and I, we were living in an apartment with 4 people total, and my roommate and I, we actually ended up moving the spring semester into another apartment because our apartment in the fall, it was just not a good atmosphere, filled with lots of negativity, and so being in there I think just drained me, and it put me in a bad mood always. So that's part of what led to my sophomore slump. Also, the thing I told you guys about not getting the position in my sorority, that like upset me more than I really thought it would. Like I didn't realize how much I wanted the position until people didn't vote for me in it, and I was like, ooh, wow, ouch, that hurt. But so I was really upset about that for a while just because I didn't know if I was gonna even get an appointed position after that because I still had to apply for my other position. That really upset me. That was like right before like Thanksgiving break, I think, and I just remember like the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I just like did not want to be in school at all. I was always in a bad mood. My classes were getting hard. I was ready for them to be over, and I was just definitely in the sophomore slump. I wanted to go home. But then luckily Christmas break was great, and that solved my sophomore slump. I've also realized more recently just how much the weather can affect my mood. Just because in the winter it's like dreary and cold outside, and I'm really not a fan of cold weather, but on a beautiful day when I would like walk out of my dorm, walk to class, I'd be like, wow, this is just the best day ever. And I think that's why I just love spring so much. Spring is my favorite season. So this past like spring semester, 2017, I did not have any sophomore slump. I was loving life. It was so great. I loved everything about this past semester. Okay, so now wow, I've been talking for over 20 minutes. I'm gonna have to edit this down to be more reasonable, but now I'm gonna do what I did in my video last year, and that is just look through my camera roll on my phone at pictures in case there are like fun memories that I'm forgetting or anything like that, so I can tell y'all about all the sorts of fun things I did. Oh yeah, I actually got to take a couple fun trips with my friends this year. So over Labor Day, in the past my Belmont has had sorority recruitment over Labor Day, but this past year I guess they changed it to be over fall break. And so over Labor Day I took a bunch of my friends to my lake house, and we were there for the weekend, and it was so much fun. We just got to hang out and get on the boat and inner tube and stuff like that, and that was super fun. Just to get away from campus for a little bit. And then also over spring break, I got to go to Orlando with one of my good friends, Elizabeth. She's originally from there, and so I went down to kind of visit her, and then we also went to Disney World for a couple days, and then we road tripped back up to Birmingham and then to Nashville. So that was really fun too. I also went to some really good concerts fall semester. I don't know if I've talked about this in a video, but I went to Ben Rector, Need to Breathe, and the Lumineers, all within the span of like a month and a half or something, and those were all 3 at the Ascend Amphitheater, which is in downtown Nashville. I love that place so much. I really want to go back to another concert there, so hopefully there will be one this fall that I can go to, but concerts there, such good memories. You guys already saw me talk about this in a video a couple months ago, or like from last semester, but in my sorority I got two littles that I love so much, Anne McCall and Grace, and I added them to my Find You family, and I love them both so much, and that whole process was just super fun. So if you haven't seen my like big little reveal gifts and stuff like that I posted, I'll link it up here and down there if you want to go watch that. Oh yeah, I got to go to Passion in Atlanta, Georgia over winter break, I guess it was. I think it was like a couple days after New Year's, and I went with some of my friends from Belmont, and it was so much fun. It was an amazing experience. If you don't know what Passion is, it's like this big Christian conference, and they have like amazing worship, and then they have like small group time and all these great speakers, so that was a really cool trip as well. And obviously I'm skipping over a lot of stuff because I made so many amazing memories this past year, but those were just kind of like the big things that I thought I would sort of sum together. But overall, I had a really great sophomore year. Looking back, I don't know if it was better or worse than freshman year. Honestly, I feel like each one of them had pros and cons to it, but I still love sophomore year so much. I feel so lucky to be going to Belmont. I really do love the school. There are obviously a few things here and there that I would change about it if I could, but that is another conversation right there. But I do love the school so much. I love being in Nashville. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Birmingham. It will always be my home, but Nashville is such an amazing city and I miss it so much, and I've only been home for like 2 weeks now. So because I've been talking literally so long, oh my gosh, if you made it to the end of this video, comment down below telling me that you did, because I will love you forever, and that would mean so much to me if you actually sat and watched me talk for like over 20 minutes. For those of y'all that are interested in Belmont, if you have any other questions or any questions about college in general, feel free to leave those down below, and I will try my best to respond back to every comment because I want to answer y'all's questions, but then also sometimes I get super long emails about Belmont and I'm like, I don't have time to answer all of these. So just leave a comment down below and I'll try my best to respond to it. Anyways though, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was helpful. And if you are entering into your sophomore year of college in the fall, best of luck to you. I know you're gonna love it, or I hope you're gonna love it. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye!